What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and I'm right here outside of the historic Greystone Mansion, which has a ton of history and some very interesting facts. Let's get into it. So the property is currently 18.3 acres, but when it was originally gifted by oil tycoon Ed Doheny to his son Ned after his 1926 wedding to Lucy Smith, it was 428 acres. Construction on the palatial manor began in February 1927, and though Ned, his wife Lucy, and their 5 children moved in September of 1928, it took 3 years to complete. So the grounds are just fantastic to explore, but they still don't compare with the early days when they had kennels, stables, a swimming pool with a pavilion, a greenhouse right here on site, and oh yeah, a cascading waterfall. So the Greystone Mansion and Estates cost $3.17 million to develop in 1928, which put it at the top of the list for most expensive home in California. Here's where things get murky and mysterious. On the night of February 16th, 1929, only 5 months after the family moved in, Ned was found shot to death inside the home at the age of 35. He was the victim of an apparent murder-suicide perpetrated by his longtime personal friend and assistant, Hugh Plunkett. This is Hugh right here, and after a brief investigation, authorities ruled that a deranged Plunkett had shot his employer and then turned the gun on himself. But to this day, the crime is a source of rumor and speculation. Was it really a murder-suicide or just made to look that way? Was it tied to another scandal? Well, all that's an episode for another day. In the meantime, Ned Doheny's wife continued living at Greystone until 1955, when she and her second husband, Lee Batson, sold the majority of the original land to Paul Truesdale, the developer of Beverly Hills' prestigious Truesdale Estates. The following year, Lucy and her husband sold the home and the remaining land for $1.5 million to Henry Crown of the Chicago-based Park Gray Corporation. In 1965, the city of Beverly Hills purchased the property from Crown, and in 1971, they opened it up as a public park, which it continues to be to this day. One of the main reasons Beverly Hills purchased the property was to install a 19 million gallon water tank on the property, as the hilltop site provided tremendous natural water pressure. The site continues to serve as Beverly Hills' largest reservoir. The reservoir today, covered by this parking lot. So why is it called Greystone? Due to the abundant use of stone in the elaborate construction and its, quote, somber gray appearance. Greystone. Greystone continues to be tremendously popular for filming, including legendary LA movie Big Lebowski, the underrated Ghostbusters 2, Spider-Man 3, and of course the pseudo-fictional There Will Be Blood, which is probably based on Ed Doheny's life. You can contribute other films or shows, but this list was way too long for me to list them all here. Though entrance to the mansion is permit only, you can visit the grounds any day for free during the summer. And while you're there, try to figure out that murder mystery. All right, LA, it's been a minute.